Hello, welcome to APUS History. We're in Unit 1. You've already been looking at Native Americans in North America prior to Europeans showing up in the 1400s. And we're going to spend a little bit of time over the next couple of videos looking at what's called the contention for superiority in North America. When you're contending with someone, you're kind of competing with them. And European nations were certainly competing with each other. This will really help you out in understanding topic 1.3, that European exploration. We're mainly looking at the why that is all happening here, okay? And so a couple things we want to just really kind of think about here in this age of exploration. What is it they're really looking for? So it really starts with Spain and Portugal, and that's one thing you have to understand. Not all these European nations are in the same place in the 13 and 14 and 1500s. Spain and Portugal are going to be kind of at the forefront of this. So Portugal, which is in the far western part of Europe, okay? Portugal, and it's right next to Spain. Spain is just east of it, okay? Portugal had been looking for alternative routes through the Atlantic during the 13 and 1400s. They had been experimenting with how to navigate the Atlantic because they're the furthest west really from the trade routes that go all the way to Asia. So they start looking here in the Atlantic for ways to explore. But the Atlantic is different to navigate than the Mediterranean, okay? It's much more vast, it's rougher, all that stuff. So they're looking for ways to just kind of get better at that. Well, because they had been doing that, it puts them in a really good position in the 1400s when, to the east, the city of Constantinople is taken over by the Ottoman Turks from the Byzantine Empire. Okay, it's the fall of the really old Eastern Roman Empire. And they cut off trade. Now, prior to that, Europeans had access to trade to Asia, mostly the overland route, the northern route that's there in green, okay? They had a couple of water routes where you went overland and then you took water to India and so on, and you kind of avoided Africa. But with this, those trade routes were dominated and controlled mostly by the Italians. And so countries like Portugal were looking for other ways to increase their riches, bringing all those spices and silk back and so on. And so it's really kind of important to understand that. So Portugal starts to head southward looking for a trade route around Africa. In the meantime, they're also going into parts of Western Africa and starting to dominate trade there, particularly three things: gold, salt, and slaves. So you kind of understand there's this competition going on as European nations are coming out of the Middle Ages. They are trying to increase their wealth and compete with each other. The trade routes aren't the most accessible. They're looking for a better way. And Portugal, because they had been looking for a while, kind of finds, is really one of the first to find that. But their neighbors, Spain, are going to start to look elsewhere too. And we're going to look at that in the next few videos and focus on Spain a little bit.